Hello, everybody. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Teresa.
I'm here tonight with Dr. Anthony Metis, and we're doing again one of our Facebook Lives that we have started recently. We are doing a series of lives about Gary. Gary Douglas is the founder of Access Consciousness. And we basically interview different people, have conversations with different people who have been in touch with Gary over the years closely, because it's such a gift for me also to perceive the gratitude that we can have for somebody and for the people in general in our lives. And I know, Anthony, that Gary has been a big part of your life for the last, was it 14 years maybe?
Yeah, I've been involved with Access for 14 years, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of when I officially met him. It was at an advanced body class, but by the time I was able to finally get to an advanced body class, I think I had been in Access for about 2 years. So, yeah, so 12 years, you know, he's officially been in my life where I actually got to meet him in person, and then we kind of got kind of lucky and we just got connected, and yeah, he's kind of been my mentor ever since.
Oh, can you say more about the mentor part? What do you mean?
Well, I remember it was at the advanced body class. I was asking a lot of questions, and at that point, I still didn't realize that the tools of access consciousness was more than just getting you past like your pain and suffering and your problems and your traumas and dramas. I was still there taking the classes from this point of view of like, can you please fix me? You know, I'm broken. And then I'm broken in so many different areas. And it wasn't until the so after that class, which was interesting. I mean, I didn't say that literally out loud, but I thought it to myself. And because I've always been on these healing journeys and trying different techniques and modalities, by trade, I'm a chiropractor, a holistic chiropractor. So I always took the whole person approach, but mainly starting with me first, so I explored so many different things and spiritualities and practices and religions and all that, blah, blah. And so after that weekend, just out of nowhere, he just like randomly is like, "Hey, call me anytime. Here's my phone number." And I'm like, "What?" Like, there's no way. I'm like, come on, somebody's paying him or something. And I don't think I did. I don't think I did call him. Like, I didn't take him up on that offer. And fast forward a few months later was certified facilitators. And I'll never forget, it was the third day, and my body was like shaking in all sorts of weird ways. And I remember walking back from lunch, heading back to class, and the energies within my body were so intense. I actually had to like get down on a knee because I felt like I was gonna pass out. But then in that moment, something came over me energetically where I just started weeping. And it wasn't tears of pain and suffering, it was tears of gratitude. And also in that particular moment in time, it was like everything just started to become one. Like the blades of grass were pulsating, the flowers, the cement, the concrete I was walking on in the street, like it was like pulsating. And that's when I was like, wow, access is more than just getting you past your pain and suffering, but there's actual like, and I hate using the word magic because it sounds so hokey, but like if there was a better word than magic, but there's a universe that I became aware of, that I've had awarenesses of throughout my life and the other techniques, and I've accessed those spaces, but it didn't really like stay with me, if you will. And in that moment, I realized that there was actually an opportunity to not only get through my pain and suffering, but to truly grow in consciousness, let's just say. And I remember saying to myself in that moment, I need to get around Gary Douglas as much as I possibly can, even if I don't have the money, because he's like in his late 70s and he may not be on this earth plane for, that much longer. So, and it was interesting because about 1 month later, he was coming to Florida, which was like a 7.5 hour car ride for me. And I didn't need to go to the class. But I had to honor that awareness that I had. And I drove down to that class and I brought my kids with me. I was a single father at the time. And he this beautiful magical thing showed up, and where he actually asked me to work on him. And but I knew not as a chiropractor. It was more like from an energetic standpoint, which I had no idea what he wanted me to do. And and he basically in that moment acknowledged me for a capacity that I maybe thought I had a little bit somewhere back there, but sort of gave up on maybe even exploring it, just because if that capacity was real and true, it would have shown up by now. And so, yeah, he's just like, hey, you realize you have a capacity for to be like an energy practitioner, an energy worker. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean by that, you know? And I thought he was just saying it because he felt sorry for me because I was a widower at the time and, raising 3 kids. My wife had committed suicide and just going through so much stuff. And it was hard for me to actually receive his his awareness. But I realized in that moment, so much of what we do in Access is about receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving. And he has this uncanny ability to receive more so, let's just say, than the average individual, which and as a result of that, he's able to perceive the gifts in others that they can't even perceive in themselves. So it's like if you only see like this much of yourself, if this is like how much you see yourself as, he like has this thing which sometimes it's uncomfortable to be around him, right? Because he's actually acknowledging your being, right? Where you're like sitting there showing up and you feel like this, and he's acknowledging your being, which could be very uncomfortable because we're not used to that. We're used to like just accepting the fact that we're this, you know? And yeah, and I was like, wow. And I got to see the gift of what receiving can be for others. Like if we're willing to receive everything and not have a point of view, that only helps me more as a facilitator to contribute to others. And so that was beautiful and it changed my life forever. And so from that moment on, I've been exploring, well, okay, well, what did he perceive? Because I've had mentors before, I've had gurus before, and they've acknowledged my potential,
Mm.
but they never gave me a roadmap to develop it or to access it more. And, Gary provided me with that. He provided me with the roadmap through the tools of access consciousness, but also with one-on-one facilitation. Be and a lot of those conversations were absolutely beautiful, and a lot of those conversations were extremely uncomfortable. But again, if you're willing to receive and be that space of vulnerability, it's like, you get to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and the great of you, and the greatness of you. And as long as you don't have a point of view of any of it, the sky's the limit. And it's been an ongoing journey ever since, and I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, speaking of the vulnerability when having a conversation with Gary, yeah, sometimes to me it feels like there is being naked and then there is talking to Gary, which is even more than being totally naked, which is, as you were saying, yeah, you have nowhere, yeah, to hide, or the vastness that he perceives of you. It's really interesting and uncomfortable, but there are so many gifts. Just the one is the one that you are talking about, you entering this, well, let's call it magic, this universe of magic, or the universe of symphony energy, symphony of possibilities. And you are now one of the facilitators that facilitate the opening of the symphony and symphony immersions classes in the afternoons of Symphony of Possibilities trainings with Dr. Dane here. And so, I know you have been working, you have been doing sessions on Gary over the years too. So would you be willing to talk about that as well?
Yeah, I think about that all the time, and I will for the rest as long as I'm alive. But it's sometimes I wonder if I received more from the sessions working on him than he received from me, you know. But that's been a huge gift for me because it allowed me to, anytime you work on another human being, um, in this way with this particular method, with the symphony energies, um, y- it there's a dance between you and them, and it's not a body process. It's like really two beings coming together, because a lot of the times you're working on their subtle bodies, their energy bodies, their and on the being, right? But your being is interfacing with their being, right? And you are playing in this universe to contribute to them in your own unique symphonic wave, if you will, right? It's like, we have our own unique energies and capacities, very much like a musical instrument, right? And so like each instrument in that orchestra is what contributes to the whole symphony. And that's why Dr. Dane here, the co-founder of Access Consciousness, created, right, the classes in which we learn how to play with these energies. And so in working with Gary and doing these sessions, it would actually open up my universe to more universes, let's just say. And it'd be like I'd be working on them, doing my thing, and I'm like, whoa. I don't say it out loud because I'm just trying to be like present, but I'm like, oh my God, that's really cool. And it's like, so I would get these like downloads or these awarenesses that of like just bigger worlds and bigger universes, and it's been so cool. And then that would become part of me, that would become part of my being, right? And then that became like an energetic springboard for me to go out into the world and create my life and my living. You know what I mean? And the way I live my life on a daily basis. And it's amazing how, like, again, there's no top of the you don't reach the top of this cosmic conscious mountain where all of a sudden everything becomes perfect all the time. But it's like I've learned to just find the joy in the little things too, you know, the things that used to be mundane and boring. It's when these energies become part of you, even the mundane and boring is a miracle. It's like there's a level of gratitude for having to go to the supermarket and buying toilet paper. You know what I mean? There's an energy to it, right? There's an energy to everything. And instead of like walking around on automatic pilot, unconscious, like unfortunately a lot of the world does, it's your awareness just opens up to everything from the smallest little tiniest thing to the most grand and glorious thing. And in the end, it's all okay. It's interesting. It's like it's all okay. Um, yeah, and it's different. So it's been a gift for me. It's been a beautiful, beautiful adventure. I've been able to travel the world, meeting beautiful people like yourself, and we share a lot of the same, mutual friends, and we're on this interesting journey of consciousness in where we get to have conversations with one another that is more than just coffee talk. You know what I mean? We get to have conversations with each other that create greater possibilities. We get to have conversations with each other that, at least the people I grew up with, would be like, all right, get away from me. You're getting too intense. But like all my friends around the world, we can talk about things, and it may be intense for the average person and too much or too deep. For us, it's like we're talking about, oh wow, what a beautiful blue sky. You know what I mean? It's like no big deal. But it's wonderful to finally be able to have that be part of my life, because I always thought I was the weirdo, because I wanted to explore things with people and have conversations that actually meant something and created something greater. And it was just almost like too much. And there is no too much within this like universe that we're exploring, and it's really fun. It's really fun. At the end of the day, it's fun. So
Yeah, for me also part of the huge gift of access consciousness and Gary creating it is for me having all these beautiful people that I can call my friends now that I did not have as many, I have to say, before, so just suddenly to have so many amazing people around the world that I can call also, anytime, it's really a gift. And yeah, thank you so much for everything you've shared. Wow.
yeah, no, thank you. And thank you to Gary Douglas, because it's I would not be where I am right now within, and at the end of the day, it's more about I would not be where I am now today in here if it wasn't for him.
Yeah. And as you were saying, it's about everything like
Yeah,
this, then, permeates into all areas of your life, whether you work, as a facilitator or whatever you do, or you make yourself a morning cappuccino. Things are just different. Yeah.
no, they're very different, and totally. And I'm super grateful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you, everybody watching this. And truly, how does it get any better than this? And if you would like to discover more what's going on with Gary, what classes he has coming up, remember to go to accessconsciousness.com/Gary. Easy as that. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Teresa.
Bye.
Bye.